I don't like Korn. I don't like Limp Bizkit. I don't like any of your fucking new metal garbage. Time for a little SpaghottiLand here with the Spaghotti Man. So, my battery's running a bit low. I'm going to try and get through this. I owe you guys a video. I owe it a video. I owe no one a video. I owe myself a video. I've been putting it off, but I got to try and do one a month because I'm trying to stay true to my schedule here. So, sticking to it. Welcome. Thanks for sticking with me through the nightmares. We're going to get through it together. Sorry for the intermittency. And, yeah. As you can tell, if you've been following me, there's a bit of a new schedule. First weekend of each month, I'm going to make a video, and we'll go from there. I'm going to do this as long as I can. If my battery cuts out, you might get a little cut, and then I'll continue when I charge up the battery. But I have a little list here. I'm going to try and work my way through it so that this is as concise as possible, because this is going to be a little bit of a long one, because I've been putting off the music history, so I'm going to get to that this time. Not that anyone asked, but these videos are also, I guess, if I get hit by a bus or something and I'm no longer here, if people are wondering who that crazy guy was, what made him tick, well, maybe you'll be able to figure some shit out from these videos. So, anyway, over the past little bit, I've been playing some Vidya. We'll do the Vidya first, then I'll do movies, music stuff, and so forth. You can check the timestamps if you're just trying to skip through my shit. Vidya. I played a bunch of games. GRIS. I am going to call it GRIS. It might be called GRIS, but that sounds stupid. So I'm going to call it GRIS because that's like the French word for gray, and it starts gray in the game. It's a pretty cool game if you like artsy platformers and stuff. Highly recommend it. It is a wordless experience, so you don't have to be any particular language to enjoy it. It's pretty easy, accessible, and it was fun. And it was kind of like Limbo. Limbo is like a dark, moody, and GRIS was like an uplifting thing. So that was good for right now. So highly recommend GRIS. I also finished up the DLC for the Outer Wilds. If you haven't played the Outer Wilds, that was one of the most incredible video game experiences I've had. It's an exploration game where you're in a small solar system that resets every 20 minutes. So, and you have to explore and figure out the puzzle of the solar system, and it is amazing. It's one of the best games I've ever played. Highly recommend it. I played Laserlife. I finished up Laserlife. That one's real cool. It's all, the best way I can describe it. It's like the way Rock Band has like a track coming at you, and you have to hit the things. It's kind of like a rhythm game. You've got two beams of light, and you have to steer them around and grab different memory molecules. You're a dead astronaut in space, and you're piecing together his memories. It's pretty cool. I'd recommend that little guy. If you like Dark Souls and challenging games like that, I've been saying for a while that I want some cyber Dark Souls, some tech-based Dark Souls. I've heard that FromSoft's going to do that. Maybe Armored Core is going to have some of that shit, but maybe not. So if you're like me, craving some cyber Dark Souls, I was very surprised. I'd played The Surge before, and I didn't really like it when I played it before, but this time I went back, and I, with my FromSoft expertise, I went back and I spanked the shit out of it. So 100%. I still got to go back and do the DLC, but I got all the other achievements. Highly recommend that one. I was way better than I thought it was going to be. And then Apex. I've been playing Apex Legends. I'm really just playing it to get the achievements, but it's a little bit more fun than I thought it was going to be. It's disgusting how many cosmetic items are available for purchase, which I will not be doing any of. Respawn needs to make another Titanfall game. And that's all I will say about that. On to movies. Only 2 new movies that I watched. I watched Hostel 2 and Hostel 1 with some friends they had not seen, and they were concerned. The reputation of those movies were grisly, but I urged them to give them a chance, and I urge anyone to give them a chance. They're quite a bit less grisly than you expect, but heavy on the existential spooks. It's pretty cool. I like Hostel 1 and 2. We're not here to talk about Hostel, though. I saw another horror movie, one that everyone's been raving about, Hereditary. Hereditary was pretty good. It was pretty good. There's a quote on the front of the box that says it's like a modern Exorcist for like new generation. I would agree with that. That's pretty good. I haven't seen The Exorcist. I've only seen parodies of it. I should really get on that. But I've just leached the... I know the story of The Exorcist just through cultural osmosis, but I should really go and watch that one. Hereditary was good, though. Recommend that if you haven't seen it. Pretty disturbing. Definitely check that out. I would not recommend another horror movie that I watched, Skinamarink. It's like an hour and 40 minutes of basically The Wall. I think someone's sawing a pipe or something right now. I was kind of concerned. I heard it building. Maybe you hear it, maybe you don't. If you do hear it, sorry guys. Skinamarink. The concept sounds cool. It's like two kids in a house, the dad leaves, and then like the door disappears and the windows are disappearing, and there's like a demon or something. If that interests you, give it a shot, but I will warn you, basically 50% of the people I saw in the comments were like me, and they're like, that seemed like a big waste of time. And then the other half were like, this is the most incredible horror movie I've ever seen in the last 20 years. And because of those people, I went and gave it a chance. I would not agree. Skinamarink was kind of fell flat for me. Maybe you have to watch it alone. Maybe that was my problem. I watched it with 2 other people, so maybe you have to watch it alone in a dark room. That's that. So I gotta go into the music history now, which is a bit of a complex thing. And so before I do that, I'll just kind of talk about the new schedule for the showcases, because everyone loves the showcases. They're nice little short things where you get to see a cool vinyl. My plan is to go and take all of the titles of everything in my collection and put it in like a hat, and then mix it up and pull out 3 every month. That is not set up yet. That's my homework for next month. So for this month, I'm just going to use the Discogs app on my phone. I'm going to shake it so that it gives me a random thing from my collection. So if you're wondering why the showcases seem kind of random, they are. They're going to be random from now on, because that's a little bit more exciting, a little bit more fun. And you might get a wax mage every now and then, and you might not. We'll see what happens. That covers that. Before I go into music history, I'll hit you with the ending advice, because it kind of pertains to how I've been playing all these weird-ass games that you might have heard of, but they're like from 2015 and stuff. So here's my advice, and I hope those in need take heed. So everyone seems to be run by trends these days. Trends and bandwagons. Everything from like movies to games to music, like what everyone's listening to, what's trending. You gotta listen to it. You gotta check it out. Stop it. If you have an interest in something, go check it out. Go do things for you. Don't do it. Stop listening. It's okay to have the band. I'm checking out Apex. Apex is a bit of a bandwagon thing, but make sure that you make time for yourself and do things that you want to do for you. Be proud of the things that you do for you. It's important. It's how you form like a... You have to cultivate an environment of the things that inspire you, so that when you go to create, if you plan to create in this world, you have like a mood, like a vibe. I don't know. There's like a thing that comes with settling into your environment and doing things for you. I don't know how else to put it, but I hope that conveys the message. So, without further ado, I will get into music history of me. If you don't care, go ahead and close the video, because it's just me rambling about my history with music now. So my parents, they listened to oldies when I was a kid, probably up until I was like 11 or something. I didn't even think about music as being anything other than oldies. We would go on like road trips. They'd listen to CIL 650, and we would hear oldies, doo-wop shit, like all the Fats Domino and all that old shit. And that's what I thought music was. And don't get me wrong, I thank them for that, because that's given me a pretty varied, diverse musical background foundation. My dad was deep into like CCR and Tears for Fears and all that shit. Elvis, my dad is balls deep in Elvis. He fucking loves Elvis. So, I don't know if I like Elvis, but there's a respect there for it. But anyway, when I hit probably like 10 or 11, I started to like discover music for myself. There was a Halo Super Jump video in Blood Gulch where it was set to the Hell Song by Sum 41, and I had never heard a guitar riff, and it was like, oh my god, what is that? And I went and looked it up and found it. The first CD I ever bought with my own money was Sum 41, Does This Look Infected? And I bought the Gorillaz afterward, the one with Feel Good Inc. and Clint Eastwood, and I think it's called Demon Days. That CD sucks though, because it has like a bunch of like copyright protection, so I couldn't save it to my computer. So, funny enough, the Gorillaz never stayed with me as a band because I couldn't fucking copy the music. You had to like put it in your computer and it had like its own player. So, you guys fucked yourself. I still like that album. I still like those songs from that album, but because of that, I just like fell off the Gorilla bandwagon right away. Around that time, I was like checking out other stuff. I had like a brief stint with like Radiohead and all that shit, and I pretty quickly grew out of the sad boy shit. Found Linkin Park. Really liked Linkin Park. My cousin tried to show me Limp Bizkit. I don't like Limp Bizkit. I don't like Korn. I don't like Limp Bizkit. I don't like any of your fucking new metal garbage. No thank you. Which is a conundrum and weird, because I do like Slipknot and Static X, and people will, it's new metal. I like original Slipknot. Pretty much Volume 3 is where I fall off, where it starts to get all melodic and stuff. No fucking thank you. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but I'm going to give you a brief framework, and then I'll alphabetically go through, maybe, and I'll give you a more breakdown. So I went from like Linkin Park, I went from like Sum 41 to Linkin Park, started to get into more angry stuff. Slipknot was kind of the gateway into metal, and then I started to listen to more like death metal. My friend Calvin introduced me to like Iron Maiden, In Flames, Ministry. Through those, I found other bands. A friend named Rebecca. If Rebecca watches these videos, that'll be real fun for you to notice that I'm giving you some credit. Rebecca noticed that I was checking out some metal, and she tried to steer me in the right direction, and she showed me a bunch of like intense death metal. I can't even remember a lot of it. Moore's Prince of PMS. Real obscure shit. The good stuff. Dimmu Borgir, I believe she introduced me to them. She saw I was listening to Cradle of Filth. No, maybe Calvin introduced me to Dimmu. I was listening to Cradle and Dimmu, and maybe Rebecca showed me more obscure things, which I kind of latched on a little bit, but I always tend to the more higher production stuff, so I like the more symphonic black metals and stuff. I know it's blasphemy. And there's a flash now. I'm keeping the screen bright. So for quite a few years there during high school, I was listening to death metal, black metal, and I would walk around the school campus blasting it. I was known for wearing trench coats and my long hair and the death metal and stuff. And I don't know. My first concert was Cannibal Corpse and Goat Whore, The Red Chord, The Black Dahlia Murder, all that stuff. It was good. But I started to like, I wanted more electronics in the metal. So I kept I went actually back to Static X. I left Static X for a while, and I went back to Static X, and I was like, you know what? This isn't new metal. This is more industrial metal than new metal. New metal has more like the rappy element and stuff, kind of like Linkin Parky, and there's no rappy stuff in Static X. It's like loops, electronic stuff, and metal. And I was really into Ministry. Static X, I noticed that there was some collaboration between Wayne Static and Al Jorgensen, and I was like, I'm fucking listening to Static X again. And then I went and started checking out more industrial stuff, and I had like downloaded Frontline Assembly, and just I downloaded like a bunch of stuff and just had it in my library to check out. And I had never actually went and clicked on Frontline Assembly because for some reason in the back of my mind I was like, oh, that's just going to be some that's probably some emo shit like Red Jumpsuit Apparatus or something because of the name. One day, ran in a shuffle, Maniacal by Frontline Assembly came on, and I was fucking floored. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I had to immediately find out. Frontline Assembly has been my favorite band since I found that song. It's just been non-stop, song after song after song of fucking incredible. I think before that as well, I'm getting ahead of myself. On the roof, I got a Skinny Puppy poster, so, you know, it's actually a canvas thing I got at the concert. I forget exactly when I was listening to Skinny Puppy, but it was a little bit before Frontline, because like I think I picked up on Frontline being an offshoot of Skinny Puppy. I don't really remember. My memory's terrible. I did mushrooms when I was younger and had a real bad experience, and it fucked all my memory up. So that's part of why my memory's all fucked up. Easter egg. Where was I? Frontline. From Frontline, I found a bunch of other industrial stuff. I went balls deep in industrial for a while. Electro-industrial specifically. I just recently, within the last 5-6 years, found Cyanotic. Cyanotic's another really good one. But for a while I was dealing with kind of just the more obscure industrial stuff. God Module's a bit of a bigger name one, but you know, all the other electro-industrial in-betweeners, Hunter Null and whatnot. I'll get to the ones I listened to in the list that have stuck around, because I've shed some of the ones. The ones that didn't make the list, you're not around anymore. And yeah, I don't know. I guess we're kind of current. There's a bunch of bands I missed in there, so when I go through alphabetically, I'll cover them. And kind of in general, as I go to make music, kind of like I said earlier about cultivating your environment, I have specifically hung on to these artists because when I go to make something, I want to make something that sounds like something in between all of my favorite artists, okay? Now, it's going to be impossible to make something between 100 and something artists I have on there. So yeah, be warned, the list is going to be long coming up. But if I had to break the list down to like 5 bands that my music, I would try to make it sound like, Frontline is obviously the biggest inspiration. Skinny Puppy is a huge inspiration, though I kind of doubt that I'll be able to do anything similar because they're fucking wizards. Ministry, Infected Mushroom, and The Birthday Massacre. Might be a bit of an odd list for you, but if I had to break it down to 5 to get my sound somewhere in there, right around in between those bands, I think, is what I would be aiming for. Anyway, let's work through the list. I'll go alphabetical. I know a bunch of you aren't watching at this point, but for those that care, here we go. We got a music list. So I'll kind of go through them and I'll describe each of them and a brief history with each. 1,000 Homo DJs. I fucking love a band that has a hilarious name. If you got a funny name and great music that is undeniable, you got me. So 1,000 Homo DJs is a side project from Ministry, Mr. Al Jorgensen, and he's got Supernaut, a cover of, I believe, Black Sabbath. I don't really listen to Black Sabbath, sorry. And I love Supernaut. I don't know if I would like the original. I like crazy, crackhead industrial covers of original music. So, Thousand Homo DJs, that's basically their claim to fame. Love them for that. 16 Volt is pretty cool. They're like an industrial rock band, I think from like Chicago or something. They use like tape loops and stuff. It's kind of like a rock band, but there's industrial elements, so I like them. They got some pretty cool lyrics. And To Hell is probably my favorite from them. A little cool song from them. I won't do that for each band. We're going to be here forever if I'm giving you a favorite from each band, so I'll try and go through quick. Three Teeth, it's pretty cool. The first album. The first album was helped by Tool people, so it's undeniably fucking awesome. All the stuff that Lex Mincola was doing since is a little bit, yeah, it's not really what I'm into, so I like the first stuff. AFI. I listened to AFI in the Sad Boy era. I liked Sing the Sorrow and December Underground, and then that's it. That's all I listened to AFI. Alice in Chains is kind of a recent pickup. I went to an Alice in Chains concert with Calvin and saw the light. I realized how fucking great they are as a band, and even though grunge isn't really my thing, Alice in Chains is some good shit. Go check out Alice in Chains. Amon Tobin. I've been listening to Amon Tobin ever since Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, because he did the soundtrack for that. Very weird, ambient, electronic soundscapes. Bit of an inspiration, but another band artist that you'll never be able to imitate, because they're just soul in their vision. It's pretty incredible. Aperture Science Psychoacoustics Laboratory. It's really just a fun way of referencing. I listen to a bunch of soundtracks, so I think that might be the only artist that I might poke out a couple of the others, but it's a soundtrack for Portal and Portal 2. Aphex Twin. Been a fan of Aphex Twin ever since my younger drug years. I listened to like Window Liquor and all of Aphex Twin's side projects, Polygon Window and all that stuff, AFX. And it's all pretty cool. Another huge inspiration, and another who is soul in his vision and you'll never be able to imitate, but it's good to surround yourself with these crazy people that you'll never quite be able to understand, but you feel a fucking something in there. Apoptygma Berserk. I recently found them, maybe within the last 5 years. It's like dark electro synth pop. So, if you're not into that, don't check them out. If you are into that, check them out. Arch Enemy. It's like death metal. Early Arch Enemy, I was, upon revisiting Arch Enemy many years later, because Rebecca was actually who introduced me earlier in my story. Upon revisiting them, though, I was delighted to find that early Arch Enemy, with Angela Gossow screaming like a man, sounds like old In Flames. They're almost, you almost can't tell the difference between the two. So that's fucking awesome, because I was looking for more of that. I do not like Alyssa White Gluz heading Arch Enemy. I don't listen to any of that. All Angela Gossow for me. A Symbiont, Ren Soren. If you ever watch my videos, I really doubt you would, but he added me on Facebook many years ago. I found A Symbiont through MySpace, when MySpace was a thing. It's a little indie band, you'll never have heard of them. I have the CD, though, so get at me if you want to hear them. I will share it with you. I will spread A Symbiont. Everyone needs to hear them. It's like electro rock. I don't know how to describe it. It's really cool. It's fucking awesome. At the Gates, if you've played Rock Band, you know Blinded by Fear. And that is how I was introduced to them. And Calvin confirmed with me that they're awesome, and I went and checked them out, and lo and behold, they're awesome. Slaughter of the Soul is their best album. Author and Punisher. He's a crazy dude. I've found him in the last 4 years or so. Red Bull sponsored him. He makes his own CNC machined MIDI controllers out of fucking machinery, and it's mechanical industrial music made with a human element. Fucking incredible. It's drone doom metal electronics. Fucking crazy. Magic of video editing. My battery died. Anyway, I hope it's charged enough. Let's get on through it. So, last thing I read off was Author and Punisher. Next in line we got Basement Jacks. I really am only hanging on to them because when I was younger I heard the Tomb Raider movie soundtrack, and Where's Your Head At is in there. There's a couple cool songs in there that I discovered though. Bailey Talent, a Canadian band, I think. I only like the first 2 albums. Birthday Massacre, I forget where they're from, but they're a little bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. But it's kind of like nursery rhymes, rock, synth pop, cool shit. Melodies, synth stuff. That's why I mentioned them earlier. Like I want my sound to. They got high production. I like it. Black Audio is a side project from AFI. I only like their first album. Haven't looked the other ones. I'm getting a low camera warning, but I'm going to keep going until this fucking thing dies. Blink-182, I liked them when I was young, and I liked Sum 41. Bloodhound Gang, I've been listening to probably the longest out of any band. I accidentally heard them from friends in grade 4 in gym class singing we don't need no water, let this motherfucker burn. And I've got some cool Bloodhound Gang stuff that you might see on video one day. Bobby Prince is in the list, but you've already seen that. That's the Doom original soundtrack. Carcass, I've only recently discovered Carcass through friends, and they're pretty good. Still exploring them, going through it. Cervello Elettronico is a electro-industrial act. I believe they're Italian, but check them out if you like dark industrial stuff. Kevin Key and all of his side projects from Skinny Puppy. He's fucking awesome. CamLab, kind of like industrial rock. Chris Brenna is the drummer from 9 Inch Nails when they do live stuff, I believe. And he did the Doom 3 stuff. Combi Christ from my era of industrial stuff. I have Controlled Bleeding in there, but I really only like the 80s industrial flavor of them. They're like true, and like the like electro-industrial dancey Controlled Bleeding, that's what I like. The true industrial Controlled Bleeding is a little bit too much for me. It's a little bit grinding, and Godspeed to you if that's what you listen to every day. Cradle of Filth, I'll always love Cradle of Filth. Their modern stuff is a little bit not quite to my taste, but their classic stuff. Midian is untouchable. Crystal Castles, they're like an electronic act. They've broken up. There was some sexual misconduct, whatever. Cool chiptune electronic stuff. Crystal Method, I saw them live with Tool. It's only one guy now, but it used to be 2. Good shit, drums, electronic stuff. Cujo is a side project of Amon Tobin. I mentioned Cyanotic earlier, electro-industrial, cyborg music. Hell yeah, lots of movie samples. Cyberactive is a side project from Frontline Assembly and Skinny Puppy. Daft Punk, everyone knows Daft Punk, I don't need to get into Daft Punk. Dawn of Ashes is like electro-industrial from that electro-industrial period. Dead When I Found Her is one of the best electro-industrial Skinny Puppy-esque acts of like modern times. No one knows about them. Go check out Dead When I Found Her. If you like Skinny Puppy, you're going to like Dead When I Found Her. Death Clock, I like me some Death Clock. Metalocalypse is hilarious. Dimmu Borgir, mentioned them earlier. I like me the symphonic black metal, symphonic death metal, whatever you want to call it. It's fucking awesome. Download, I'm still kind of exploring Download. I don't like Download as much as Kevin Key's self-release stuff, but you know, there's some cool modular stuff in there. An Endless Sporadic I found through Guitar Hero. It's like crazy prog music. Uringer is a side project from MSI. If you like MSI, we'll get into that as we get to it. Frontline Assembly, I talked about them. Favorite band. side project, kind of Skinny Puppy, but also its own project. Bill Lieb is the mastermind, and Reese Fulber, and unfortunately the late Jeremy Inkle. They're all absolute legends. God Module, I mentioned them. It's like, it's a little bit cheesy, synthy industrial stuff, but it's good. Godflesh, side project, I believe, of Napalm Death, industrial crazy shit. Thank you to Sean for, in a large part, introducing me to that. Got Hans Zimmer in there, but you know, it's just various soundtracks. Hydelic was from Rez. In Flames, I've always liked In Flames, except for Siren Charms and that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I still like In Flames, all their modern stuff. I have not listened to their newest album. Just got a month ago came out. I gotta do that. I got a lot of stuff to catch up on. There's lots of stuff I gotta do. Infected Mushrooms, fucking awesome. Inner Party System, that's like a pickup from 2009, electro music. Intermix is a side project of Frontline. Iron Maiden, I don't need to talk about Iron Maiden. A fun story about Iron Maiden, though, when I found Iron Maiden, and I was like, this is amazing. I went and asked my dad, I was like, Dad, why don't you listen to Iron Maiden or Metallica? And he was like, son, that's the devil's music. So that did not sway me at all. I've got a bunch of names for soundtracks. Juno Reactor did lots of soundtracks for The Matrix, but I like all their other stuff. It's like World, Electro. KMFDM, 39 years, I believe they announced the other day, of conceptual continuity. German engineering, not to be denied. Lamb of God. Special note to friend Jason Jones from middle school, who introduced me to Lamb of God and The Misfits and a bunch of other stuff. LFO, Enter the Void, that movie, introduced me to LFO. Marilyn Manson, I don't need to talk about Marilyn Manson. Only the first ones, up until, I think Mechanical Animals, whatever, that's okay. And then everything after that, you suck. Go suck, you suck. Martin O'Donnell, all the Halo soundtracks, hell yeah. I've just recently gotten more into Massive Attack. I saw Mastodon live, they're pretty good. Just recently been getting more into Megadeth and Metallica. Meshuggah is another recent find as well. I'm just trying to skip through this real quick. I'm running low on battery, guys. I'm trying to fucking just list them off. I don't really do indie type shit much, but Metric, I can fuck with Metric. I'm down with Metric. Mick Gordon, he's my boy from the Doom soundtracks, the modern Doom soundtracks, and Atomic Heart. Itching to hear it, and Prey as well, the 2019 Prey, I believe. Mind in a Box is a electro, maybe electro-industrial. A lot of stuff I listen to is electro-industrial. Found them through the internet, and I actually really like them. Don't know how to describe them. You'd have to, if you some of these names catch your interest, you go look them up, go find them. MSI, Mindless Self-Indulgence, Jason Jones era. I found all that shit middle school. It's fucking awesome. I've always been listening to them. A lot of people fall off the bandwagon, but I've always liked MSI. Ministry, Al Jorgensen. He's a badass industrial heavy hitter, Mr. William S. Burroughs. He's the William S. Burroughs of music. Misfits, I mentioned them already. Jason Jones introduced me to them. I don't really do punk, but Misfits I'm down with. I actually like Graves a little bit better than Danzig, and I know that's fucking blasphemy, but there you have it. Morris Prince of PMS is like a obscure metal band that Rebecca introduced me to. Mastercraft, MSTRKRFT, if you're trying to find them. Electro group. Mustard Pimp. Napalm Death is metal. I've just recently got into Napalm Death. Nine Inch Nails, one of the first industrial groups I listened to. Noise Unit is a side project from FLA, Frontline Assembly. Numb is a industrial project from the 1980s. I think they just recently released an album too. I gotta go listen to that as well. Surprise! I like NWA. NWA's in my list. That movie Straight Outta Compton showed me the light. They're actually fucking brilliant. Ogre is a side project of Skinny Puppy with Nivek Ogre and Mark Walk and a bunch of other stuff. Ogre's fucking awesome. Orgy, you guys probably know Orgy from Blue Monday. I like me some Orgy. Pantera. I recently got into Pantera. I wrote them off for a long time as being just like alcoholic cowboy metal. I was wrong. It's fucking groovin'. It's awesome. It's undeniable. Perfect Circle, side project of Tool. I like The Police. That's some classic rock that I'll dip into. I like me some Portion Control. Power Glove for the Blood Dragon soundtrack. The Prodigy, R.I.P. Keith Flint. Protech is side project of FLA. Pussifer, side project of Tool. Quo Vadis was another band that Rebecca introduced me to. Rage Against the Machine, everyone knows them. There's a bunch of people mad about Rage with the Machine right now, and I find that hilarious, but I still like Rage. Revolting Cox, side project of Ministry. Rob Zombie, I don't need to talk about Rob Zombie, you all know Rob Zombie. How do you hate Rob Zombie? Ronald Jenkins, check out YouTube Ronald Jenkins. Hey, YouTubes, he's fucking awesome. Spangle is kind of like Infected Mushroom. I've been getting more into him. Skinny Puppy, Legendary. Skrillex, I deal with the old Skrillex. New Skrillex is all just high-pitched chirping bullshit. An idiot. Slipknot, like I said, up to Volume 3. We're good. Solar Fields is awesome for the Mirror's Edge soundtrack. Static X I already talked about. Sum 41 I already talked about. Surgical Meth Machine is a side project of Ministry. System of a Down. I can fuck with System of a Down. I used to not fuck with them. Surprisingly, Masonite made me come around to them, but System of a Down's cool. Team Sleep is a side project of Deftones. I don't listen to Deftones, but I do fuck with Team Sleep. Terror Fact, hard-hitting industrial intensity, is awesome. Tomahawk. I don't really fuck with Mike Patton too much, but I fuck with Tomahawk because it's from... I forget what the song is. Captain Midnight. It's from the credits of The Darkness. It is an awesome game. Tool. Everyone knows Tool. Toxic Coma, side project of Velvet Acid Christ. Tyrant of Death from Ontario is crazy industrial metal, very much like Meshuggah, but much more electronic. Unter Null is industrial, electro-industrial from Europe. Velvet Acid Christ is like great. And Toxic Coma, I mentioned Toxic Coma already, so Velvet Acid Christ is like the dark wave techno-industrial, and then Toxic Coma is like a hilarious version of it, so both of those I fucking love them. Vital Remains, crazy death metal. VNV Nation is very inspirational, synthy, synthwave, awesome. And White Zombie is a side project of Rob Zombie. And with that, we made it through the entire fucking list, and my camera didn't die on me yet, but it's about to, so I gotta hit you with the outro. Thank you for watching another episode of... It's SpaghottiLand, I think, still. But I'm mulling it in my brain. I might change it to Spaghotti TV next time. We'll see. We'll both find out by the next episode. Stay tuned for the showcases. If you watched this whole fucking video, thank you, and stay tuned for the showcases. Otherwise, if you're just watching the showcases, you didn't watch any of this, so I don't really need to talk to you. But check out them showcases. I don't know what they're gonna be yet. I gotta stop this video on my phone, shake the thing, do the random Discogs, and I will do showcase videos after I charge my battery. So, thanks for sticking around. I know it was a bit chaotic, but hopefully you can glean some musical information from my history from this. Thank you to everyone who introduced me to all the bands along the way. Until next time.